Hi everyone, my name's Lou Sims and welcome to my channel. If you're new here today, love it if you hit subscribe, leave a comment and like the video. Right, today I just wanted to create for the sake of creating. And I looked out the window this morning and autumn has hit here in the UK. Oh, and it's beautiful to see the colours. So that inspired me. So I've grabbed my gel plate and I'm using a 7x5 gel plate. I grabbed some texture stamps, and these are the ones I designed for a company called Personal Impressions. And obviously I've grabbed some card and some paint colours that I wanted to use, to create my different projects. So the goal is, fingers crossed, is to create some really cool backgrounds. Well, she says, but then turn them into some autumn inspired cards or tags. But I'm just going to go with the flow and actually do it so there's no real agenda as such. So let's get going. Well, I'm going to keep to some, I've decided I want to keep to some simple layering and to begin with, and then see where it goes. So I'm using the textured stamp and it's got a subtle script on it, and I'm just using an Archival ink pad and just stamping on one side because I don't want the whole of the script, so it's going to show very, very loosely down one side of the jelly plate. And I'm just going to do the same this side. And on my scrap piece of paper, what I want to do, so I'm just randomly stamping ink anywhere, and on my scrap paper I'm going to try and do it so my scrap paper can become an embellishment in its own right as well. So I'm just going to go over with the brayer and pull up. So I just pulling up the little bit of ink, so I've got a starting point of a background there as well, and see if I can do two things at once. Doesn't always work that way. Right, I just need to let this dry just a little bit longer, so we'll just give it a waft. Now I'm going to use a mix of metallic paints and normal acrylic paints. I love the fact that you get a contrast then between the metallic little luster, but you also get the flatness of the normal acrylic paint. I just think it makes a nice mix. It's just a bit of a contrast, isn't it, sort of thing. So let's get this going. Right, I'm going to use the leaf texture next. I just want to build it up and add some layers there. And I'm just going to take it and put it on top of this background here. I'm going to use my brayer just to take the paint off. Oh, sorry about that banging around. And I'll do another one there. If I use the brayer, I can get all the paint off rather than just pressing it down. Put that there. And then you see I can use these as embellishments. I can use them as a background, or I can cut them out and make them embellishments for my finished projects. That was the idea in my head anyhow. Right, so let's just grab a card and put that on there. I'm going to try and keep clean, so let's just grab some scrap paper. I thought I got some out, but obviously I didn't. So now, oh, I like that. I've got a really subtle background, but I've still got some of the detailing left on my jelly plate. Well, I do like that. Let's put you down there. Right, let's do another one now. So I'll do it the opposite now. Okay, let's have a think. Let's have a think. So I'm going to use, let's use the circles. all I'm doing is I'm just putting the texture plates on top of each other and creating another sort of background. And then I've got different things to work on or die cut or stamp on, you know, things like that. So I'm just now working out where I'm going to file everything, but I just tuck it to the side of me. Right, let's just pull this one. Oh, yeah, I love the, so you've got the brilliant, sorry. Right, I'm going to pull the backgrounds. So like I've got these different backgrounds going. So I'm going to go on now and just pull 1 or 2 more, and then we can build up on them. Okay, I left that a little bit too long in between the layers, or actually what I didn't do was I didn't let each layer dry properly, but I actually quite love the effect. So let's keep going. Right, so I'm just having a look at what I've done so far, and I've got some simpler backgrounds, some multi-layered backgrounds, just using different paints. I've then created some of these sort of backgrounds which I can use as embellishments. And as you can see, we've got a few more backgrounds. As you can see, I carried on stamping away, printing away. So I've got those, and now just going to see what I can add to these, just to, you know, change them or create some different little bits of texture or something extra to them. I've also got, these have been the mop-up sheets that I've been doing in between each ones, and I've done them on card. So I might add to these as well. So then I'm going to be left with a whole host of different things to do. So as you can see, I'm just going with the flow for this video. I'm just seeing where it, you know, where it takes me and where I'd like to go. So let's keep going. Right, I haven't done much more. I added a little bit of you know, stamping to the background just to create all the different layers. And I'm going to now see what sort of cards. I fancy making some handmade cards, or, you know, some other little bits and pieces with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go away. I'm going to chop my backgrounds up. I'm going to cut out some of these embellishments that I've got with the leaves and everything like that. And, you know, I think I'm going to grab a few die cuts as well, and die cut some of these backgrounds and then see what comes from there. Right, I've gone away, and as you can see, I've cut up all my different leaves. So what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to take some of the different backgrounds, and I'm just going to start cutting up, or die cutting up, different elements using different die sets. And then once I've done that, I can start looking at the composition of what the different cards I'm going to make, you know, from all the different backgrounds. So I'm going to concentrate on cards first, and then probably whatever's left, a collage piece. So I'm just going to go off. I've got my different dies that I want to use ready, and I'm going to start die cutting away quite happily. Right, I've gone ahead and die cut some pieces, but I was getting a bit carried away, so I thought stop and come back. Now I've taken this background, whoops, and I've die cut these pieces out, and I just want to now add it to my actual card front. So what I want to do is just trim this down, and let's make a mark somewhere, and we'll trim this piece down. Right, I just want to stick, so let's just stick that into place. And I've cut the same die cut, but I've cut it this time from cream cards. I'm going to add that onto there, and in the gaps I've hopefully kept the waste pieces that I'm going to add back inside there. So we'll just grab, I want to grab some 3D foam. Right, they're stuck in place. Now it's going to irk me, I'm going to be honest. I should have, when I trimmed this down, there's a bigger gap there, but I'll think of a plan to actually change the perspective on that, because I'm going to look at that and it's going to go, she says. So let's have a think. Right, I'm feeling a bit happier than that for the moment, so let's just add a few of the leaves in place. And that knot, I think, is going to bug me, and I might just have to move it a little bit. Oh, that's okay. And all these leaves were I cut from my different mop-up pieces that I created, and when I used the texture stamps. So I'm just going to put that there. Right, I'm going to let the glue settle and dry on here, and then I will add in a few more other embellishments to it just to finish it off. It just needs one or two other little bits, and I'm thinking possibly some hearts or something, but I'm going to let that glue dry and get on to the second one. Okay, I'm still fiddling, but I will let that go. Okay, this is one of the backgrounds I did, you know, at the same time as I was using it as a mop-up. I just want to add a little bit of black ink around the edges in places. Right, so that's on there. I'm just having a think now where I want to lay some of these up, and I'm going to cut this die cut up. Actually, I could have just pulled it apart, but I'll cut it up now. And I just want to add it in places. I'm going to raise some of it, and I'm going to have some of it flat. I'm just working out which I'm going to do. So let's have a think. Actually, let's just raise most of it and see what happens. This is one of the things I love creating. So I'm creating these without actually having a plan. So 9 times out of 10, when I create a video, I have a rough idea in my head of what the end goal will look like, and I'll go away and have different bits of it prepped. But this is actually me looking at what I've printed and then thinking, you know, what can I do next with it? Being inspired by looking out my window this morning and seeing lots of the leaves changing and autumn really starting to arrive. So the pieces I've just put down there were technically the waste pieces I'd cut away from my first background. So I've got those going there. So I'm just going to choose a sentiment, and then I think I'm going to build upon the different sentiment that I've got. So I'm just going to go away and think about, grab a sentiment now. Right, I'm faffing now. I couldn't decide whether I wanted a bigger sentiment or a smaller sentiment. And I think I'm going to go for a smaller sentiment. I'm going to raise that up again. And then I'm going to start decorating with some of the other elements I've got. Right, these are just some die cut pieces I found when I was rummaging for my sentiment. And I'm tempted to use them on my card, but make them go as far as possible, just to add in a little bit more layering. Sorry, I go on quiet because I'm concentrating. So I'm just making them go just that little bit further because I can, you know, by cutting them in half. So yeah, let's do something like that. And I'm trying to put the opposite halves together so so they're not perfect as such, so I get lots of different layers that way. Okay. All right, let's bring in some of these leaves again that we created. Okay, happy with that. As before, I'm going to leave it to one side and let it dry. And I think it needs one or two other embellishments, but I do need to let the glue dry. And now let's see if we can make maybe a third card, because I've still got lots of little bits here, and obviously I've still got all these backgrounds as well. Right, I picked this sentiment out before, and I think I'm going to use it on this one. I seem to be going, do you know, I seem to be going mad with 3D foam. I never normally use as much, but hey ho. I'm going mad now. I'm sure I didn't need to take all these many backs off either. I could have got away with just one or two. Right, so let's get that placed there. And then I've got some of these here, these elements that I'm going to bring in, just so all the cards are similar, not quite the same. Right, I've got a piece of like this Hessian ribbon that I've just found, so I'm just going to try something. As I said, these cards are not planned, they're just me now playing, and I think that's quite cool. Right, I'm just going to split this up a little bit, and I'm thinking of just putting it behind, yeah, just for a little bit of extra texture. Right, you know, I think this is going to be one of those things when you stick something down and you go, but I think I'm just going to have to go with it and see, you know, where it takes me. Right, I'm quite happy with that. Again, I need to let it dry because obviously I put quite a lot of layers there. The Hessian I want to dry, and then I want to fan out just a little bit more. So if I grab them all in, I'm going to let them dry. So this is just, so that was 2 backgrounds we made, and this was a mop-up piece. And using the leaves were done from mop-up pieces and from different backgrounds that I have cut out. So we've got those 3 cards, very similar, but looking slightly different. So I'm going to let them dry, and then I need to do some finishing touches on them. Right, I've resisted the urge to play with them, and I've let them actually dry. So I just do think they just need something else. So I'm just looking at some of the different backgrounds or different things that I've got that was created making all the different prints, and I'm going to see what I can use, you know, to add to it. I love the red, but then I love that background, so the thought of cutting that up at the moment is like, Quite like the layering on that one, and that would go with those. So I think I might do that one. I might have to use that because I do love that. And what I want to do is I've just got a punch, and I'm just going to punch some hearts for now in the different colours. Oh, she says. Let's do those there, and I'll do another lot, and then I can keep, let's have a think, I can keep then some of this background to use for another project. Oh, I got a bit excitable, and I'll do some for this. Oh. And I do keep all of these little embellishments, and we'll go from there. So I've got some of those. Move that. And I've also got a few sequins because I do love a few sequins. So I'm going to grab some 3D foam pads because I want to put some of these up on 3D foam, and I want to put some of them flat. So let me just go and quickly grab those. Right, I'm just going to play with some of the different colours that we've got and see whether I want things to be quite tonal or to be a complete contrast. I quite like that one being quite tonal. So let's just layer some of these up. Right, I'm happy with that for the moment. I don't know whether I need a few smaller ones or I'm just now putting too much on. Right, let's grab some sequins. I do love a sequin or 4 dozen. And just want a couple of those as well. I think the green might work, but we'll have a look. And that one actually would be a nice one for there. So let's grab those ones out for the moment. And now I'm just going to grab a picky up tool. Right, I'm happy, and for once I'm going to step away, she says, and leave them like this. So that's the first card. So just added a few bits on from there. I've got the second one, and I've obviously got my just a few sequins on from there, and finally the last one. So they're all very, very similar to each other, but a slightly different colorway in the way they look. But to me, I've achieved my goal, which was to create something that I was inspired by autumn colors when I looked out the window. I'll take lots of photos and I'll put them up on my blog, so you can see the cards in a little bit more detail if you wish, and everything I've used will all be linked in the description box below. Thank you ever so much for your time and company today, and thank you for just creating with me as I just went off in any direction I wanted to. Take care, and I hope to see you all soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.